Hello. On behalf of our movement, I would like to welcome you to the Volunteer TV final event in the beautiful city of Istanbul. Unfortunately, our president couldn't come here. He salutes you with best wishes and apologizes for his absence. I would like to thank you for being here with us. It is a great honor. I believe this has been a great experience for Arı, and we are proud to be part of it. I wish this to be a very nice final event. Thank you very much again. Welcome to Istanbul. Thank you.
Dear partners from Citizen Media Center Benno House, dear members of the European Youth for Media Network, dear public, visitors, spectators of this final event. It's a great pleasure for me to have you all here to welcome you in this country, in this town, in this university. Because Turkey is part of Europe, Turkey is part of our common values. Thank you, Ari, that you and all project partners have support to us and work for us and for the project Volunteer TV. Thank you for this final event to show the people and the public that are their citizens, there are people and organizations in our societies, that there are human beings which work for democracy, humanity, human rights, for citizenship, for a better health system, helping disabled people to support people with difficulties, working to create a real civil society, working together on the basis of real values which are more like power and money. We are all different, and this project shows us examples for different volunteers in different countries under different conditions, but shows us also that these different people have the same aim. They're working for the people, with the people. They're working for the citizens, with the citizens. Our civil society is not corrupt and bankrupt. Europe is not corrupt and bankrupt. Some people, some politicians are corrupt. Our financial system is corrupt and bankrupt. Civil society have to convey values. Politicians have to convey values. Increasing finances doesn't mean increasing values. You cannot buy values and humanity. Politics have to create civil society. We have to create civil society. If we support people, if we qualify people, if we give them better conditions for self-engagement, if we get it what people need, we will get a society with active citizens in the right way. People, young leaders, young decision makers need community work. They need community media and they need community education. They have to learn that all people, without exception, are part of our society. They have to learn that we have to make politics for the people to give them all access to the resources they need to create their and our common life in dignity. Thank you and have enjoyed the event. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Dear Mr. Dr. Musholt, dear Baran, dear project partners and guests, our project Volunteer TV is, with the next months, coming to an end. It started in February 2011. 8 partners from 7 countries took part. We trained over 200 volunteers who tried to find out what volunteering is in the first place and how it is in their hometowns, in their countries, and in their regions. By doing this, they also try to experience themselves and how far they are already volunteering, and often they ask themselves the questions, why am I not volunteering, and what's the value of volunteering? With the ongoing project, more and more of the volunteers found out that volunteering is important for society, and then even if you have a full-time job and you have other duties to do, there can still be some time to do some voluntary work, even if it's just in a little spot, in a little space. After exploring these forms of volunteering in all the different project countries, which you will see later on in the movies, they then, with the movies, created each 2 volunteer days in their hometowns, where they presented the forms of volunteering in their town and in their country. All in all, 16 web TV reports were created, and they were compiled to 4 web TV magazines called Volunteer TV. All the efforts and products and all the values and views these volunteers compiled, you can see on the website under the URL www.volunteer-tv.eu. But that's enough said from my side. My name is Arndt Selders. I'm the project manager for AKO. And now I would like to welcome you to our final panel discussion, where we'll take a look back at our project and see what has happened in the last 2 years. Thank you very much.
Istanbul, are you ready for us? We cannot hear you. Are you ready for us? Volunteer Europe TV, come on! So, as you see, we are in Istanbul now to this volunteer panel discussion, and the representatives from the 7 different countries who participate in this project, this youth project. And it has been a quite exciting travel, I think. And we go to listen some small stories from everybody. So, yes, it is quite nice to see you all again since the last time. This has been some months ago. So, and we have an order, of course, and because we are in Istanbul, so we go to start with our guest from Istanbul, Ilteva from RE Movement.
Hi.
Thank you for welcoming us.
Thank you for being
And can you tell us about which experience, because Turkey is not so known as a country that is very much used about doing volunteer work. Can you tell us about this experience, these 3 years?
Well, first of all, we were really excited about this project because, like you said, volunteerism is a concept that we're missing in this country. So when we started this, we wanted to see what we can do and what is the situation like. The situation we realized was that the people, the citizens, were not really aware of these concepts, and this probably came from the fact that the volunteerism requires some time, and time is money, and it costs more money in Istanbul, even in Turkey. So people work hard, and they need to work hard, and this makes them miss some time for doing such work. So we realized we had a different duty to do here. So we did try to do our best to make people believe in this more and get more acquainted with this concept of volunteerism. In the movie we talked to a lot of people, and this was a really great chance for us to see how people reacted to these questions like, do you do any volunteer work? What do you think of volunteerism in Turkey? Is it well known, or is it done properly? And we really got some great answers. You'll see them later in the movie. So it's been very nice for us. We didn't do anything like that before, so this project was quite useful for us.
So can you be a little more concrete about which consequences has this project then to improve the situation of volunteerism in Turkey?
Well, I believe that we started something. It was really small. Maybe we put a real small brick in the tower, but I think that we did something. We started somebody. We trained somebody to do something. We keep contact with our volunteers that we included for this project, and I realized that they keep doing stuff like that in different organizations that they enjoy, and they are mostly students. And I believe that the students are the most, university students especially, and the high school students are the most special part that we have to take care of, because those people will grow up and those people will educate people. And I believe for a good start, we chose the right point.
So what have you learned yourself out of this project?
Well, this project has quite influenced me actually. Well, I was also not very familiar with the whole thing, so I'm also even going to do some volunteer service in a different country that influenced me a lot, you see. So, and I'll also try to influence my friend. This is a really good feeling because I really enjoy it.
What you said before, that was students, but was only university students, also from grammar schools, or from where are all the students coming who are volunteering in your project?
Well, it's mostly university students because, well, high school students are harder to reach. So university students were our primary guests, but we also try to reach some high school students with visiting them and trying to get a contact with them. But I believe as projects like this go on, they will also be included in this.
Yeah. So it means it has been a positive step towards the
Of
future.
course, yeah.
And I think it's time to see your film, which is about volunteering in Turkey.
Thank you.
74 milyonluk dinamik nüfusa sahip Türkiye'de faaliyet gösteren 88.247 adet sivil toplum kuruluşu bulunmaktadır. Buna göre Türkiye'de her 835 kişiye bir sivil toplum kuruluşu düşmektedir. Bu rakam Avrupa ve Amerika ortalamasının çok altındadır. Bunun yanı sıra mevcut organizasyonlara katılım oranının düşüklüğü de dikkat çekici. Bu çalışmamızda sokağın ve deneyimli gönüllülerin görüşlerini alarak bu olgunun sebep ve sonuçlarını araştırdık.
Merhaba, Türkiye'de gönüllülük algısı üzerine birkaç soru sormak istiyoruz.
Buyurun.
İlk olarak Türkiye'de gönüllülük algısı ne düzeyde? İnsanların bakışları ve yürüttükleri faaliyetlerin ne düzeyde olduğunu öğrenmek istiyoruz.
Anadolu'da gönüllülük algısının geleneği çok eskidir. Bir de Anadolu'nun kozmopolit yapısı olduğu için insanlar değişik inançlar, değişik kültürlerle yaşamaya alışkındır. Onun için de onların gönüllülük bakışlarına sıcak olarak yaklaşırlar. Kendi gönüllülük örgütlenmelerini de o süreç içinde sürdürebilirler. Ancak tabii günümüzde bunu aynı ifade içinde belirtemeyeceğim. Çünkü günümüzde bir takım zorluklar başlamıştır. Yani burada gönüllülük esasının Anadolu'nun o engin kültüründeki barış ortamı ya da kabul edilme ortamı kalmamıştır.
Türkiye'de gönüllülerin karşılaştıkları sorunlar var mıdır sizce?
Çok, hele günümüzde çok var. Çünkü bu gönüllü örgütlerin büyük bir bölümü olağanüstü desteklerle taltif edilirken, ödüllendirilirken diğer gönüllü örgütlerin yaşam damarları her gün kesiliyor.
Merhaba, ne işle meşgulsün?
Sanatçıyım. Bilkent Üniversitesi'nde müzik bölümündeyim.
Gönüllülük yapıyor musunuz?
Bazı çevreyle ilgili projelerde ve sanatla ilgili projelerde gönüllüyüm, evet.
Türkiye'de gönüllülerin karşılaştıkları sorunlar var mı sizce?
Elbette ki var. Gönüllülük bence daha kişisel algılanması gereken bir konu. Sadece dış görünüş ya da sadece siyasi düşünceyle ilgili bile insanların herhangi bir konuda gönüllü olmayı seçtiği insana karşı bakıp sadece bu yüzden, sadece dış görünüş ya da sadece siyasi görüşü yüzünden bile bu konudan vazgeçebilmesi en büyük zorluk bence bu ülke içerisinde.
Merhaba, ne işle meşgulsün?
Çalışmıyorum.
Gönüllülük yapıyor musun?
Hayır.
Türkiye'de gönüllülük algısı ne düzeyde sizce?
Sivil toplum örgütleriyle destekleniyor. Ama onlarda şöyle bir sıkıntı olduğunu düşünüyorum. Birkaç derneğe üye biri olarak. Gönüllülük, amatörlük olarak algılanıyor.
Çeşitli gönüllülükler yapıyor musun?
Evet. Çağdaş Drama Derneği'nde yaratıcı drama eğitimi alıyorum ben. Oradaki bazı atölyelere katılıyorum.
Türkiye'de gönüllülerin karşılaştıkları sorunlar var mı sizce?
Var. Şöyle, fonlara mecbur kalabiliyorlar. Onun için de bir takım vakıflardan, başka yerlerden destek alıyorlar. Çünkü kendi kaynaklarından, aidatlardan bir şeyleri döndürmek çok zor.
Faaliyet olarak engel tanımayan özel insanlarla gönüllü olarak 8 sene yaşadım. Gönüllü faaliyetlere kesinlikle hiçbir engel yok. Herkes gönüllü faaliyetlere katılabilir. Mutluluğun belki 1 milyon tarifi var. Ama en güzel tariflerinden birisi şudur: mutlu olmak istiyorsanız mutlu edin. Bu sosyal faaliyetlere gönüllü katılırsak insanları mutlu ederiz. Karşılığında ışık hızıyla o mutluluk bize yansır. Biz de mutlu oluruz.
Toplum Gönülleri Vakfı 2002 yılından beri Türkiye'de faaliyet gösteren bir vakıf. Toplum Gönülleri Vakfı'ndaki gençler sosyal hizmet projelerinden savunuculuk projelerine kadar geniş bir yelpazede projeler gerçekleştiriyorlar, faaliyetler gerçekleştiriyorlar.
Toplum Gönülleri Vakfı'nda aktif olarak çalışan gönüllü sayısı yaklaşık ne kadar?
4000-5000 civarı kadar gönüllü var.
Eğitim sistemimiz böyle çalışmalara, insanlara yöneltecek kapasitede mi?
Hayır değil, çünkü zaten en başından beri yani işte önce liseyi kazanmak için hazırlanıyoruz, sonra üniversiteyi kazanmak için hazırlanıyoruz. Zaten yani sivil alandan bir haberdar oluyoruz. Sivil toplum kuruluşlarını tanıtmakta birazcık zorlanıyoruz. Çünkü yani sivil alanın ya da işte örgütlenme kavramlarını çok başka bir yerden alıyoruz ya da başka anlıyoruz. Başka bir kavramı var bize göre. Bir şeyleri değiştirmek için örgütlenmek gerekiyor ama örgütlenmek kelimesini bile başka bir yerden algıladığımız için Türkiye'de önce bunları anlatmak gerekiyor. Bunları konuşmak gerekiyor.
Ben öğretmenim.
Gönüllülük yapıyor musunuz?
Gönüllülük... Şimdi nasıl bir gönüllülük mesela?
Herhangi bir sosyal projelerde bulunuyor musunuz? Vakıflara üye misiniz?
Yok, öyle vakıflara üye falan değilim ama okullarda tabii gönüllü olarak öğrencilere yardımda bulunuyorum.
Türkiye'deki gönüllülerin karşılaştığı zorluklar var mıdır sizce?
Hiç bir fikrim yok.
Gönüllülük yapıyor musunuz?
Gönüllülük nasıl bir gönüllülük onu anlamadım. Toplum kuruluşlarına şu anda bir görev almadım.
Bunun öndeki engel nedir? Sizce neden yapmadınız?
Vaktim olmadığından dolayı ve kendi sorunlarımdan dolayı, kendi ailevi sorunlarımdan dolayı.
Gönüllü olarak bir yerde çalışıyor musunuz?
Şu anda gönüllü olarak burada çalışıyorum ama yani böyle işler pek Türkiye'de yaygın olmuyor. Hiçbir şeyde bulunmadım ben yani. Belki bu ülkemizde çok gelişmiş bir olay değil. İnsanlar bu konuda pek bilinçli değil. Tabii daha çok bilinçlendirilmesi lazım veya bu kuruluşların halka daha çok inmesi lazım. Ki onlar da bir yerlere ulaşabilsinler yani. Her şeyin anahtarı eğitim. Yani bu işi çocuk yaşlarda insanların bilinçlendirilmesi, öğretilmesi lazım.
Yeah, even if we are physical in Istanbul, we make a mental trip to England now, to York, to speak with Dave from Inclusive
Hello.
Arts. Hello. Dave, one peculiar thing in your project was that you decided to include a group who normally are marginalized in society, people with disabilities. Can you tell us about the process with them?
Yes, Volunteer TV gave us a really good opportunity. It's something which we've been thinking about quite a lot with a youth media project I manage called Chaos Media. And one of the aims we try to do is try and make it as accessible as possible. And Volunteer TV gave us an opportunity to explore this a little bit further and how we could actually work with adults with disabilities and that's adults with mild to severe disabilities, and give them an opportunity to volunteer. One thing we've recognised in York and also nationally is the barriers which people who do have disabilities face in actually obtaining volunteering opportunities. And that's down for a variety of reasons. So, as I said, it gave us a really good opportunity to look at this, and it was a really, really big challenge because obviously there's various barriers. There's also things about making things accessible, making your own volunteers feel a bit comfortable, because that can be quite a challenge working with people with disabilities because of your preconceptions and misconceptions of what they can and can't do. So we ran a project called Accessible Broadcasting Community, and we looked at everything. We even looked at things like, well, how can we make things accessible? So we actually did volunteering opportunities where we went to people with disabilities and ran short volunteering opportunities for them, which could be for 2 hours. And they were like taster volunteering workshops. And hopefully that, what happened then is that a hell of a lot of the people we did work with wanted to volunteer for a longer time. And basically we were saying to people, look, you can volunteer for as short or as long as you want. But we did find a hell of a lot. I think we had about 15 volunteers we went out and recruited. And they volunteered. We were thinking, okay, they'll volunteer for 2 to 3 hours, and a lot of them volunteer for about 30, 40 hours throughout the project. But we also looked at publicity, trying to make things accessible. And when if you view our broadcast, you'll see some little symbols at the bottom. And this was actually, we produced some video publicity and promotion and hard copy publicity promotion. And we were looking about, because you do get some people who have disabilities who may not be able to read or write, or may have hard of hearing. So we worked with an organisation called Accessible Arts and Media, who gave us the skills and experience about what type of publicity to produce to make sure that's accessible as well.
Do you think this project has contributed to that you rethink your organisation, but also that society rethink this situation?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yes, I can. I think that, do you think that this project has contributed that you rethink your own position as an organization towards disability people, but also it has some impact in society with this project?
It's had to be quite frank, it's had a huge impact. I mean, for our City of York, we quite pride ourselves about volunteering. We have, the project actually fed into a volunteering strategy for the city. There was a report which was made, which we fed into, which about a few weeks back there was a volunteering conference, which the Accessible Broadcasting Community project was highlighted about good practice working with adults with disabilities and engagement with volunteering. So there is a legacy there. Our media trainers are now trained up or getting trained with safeguarding, working with adults with disabilities. Our volunteers now feel a hell of a lot more comfortable. We're working really closely with 2 other projects now, which is called Able Radio, which is for a radio project for volunteers with disabilities, and Able Web. And it's a fantastic crossover now, because some of our volunteers from Case Media are working on those projects and vice versa. And I mean, the impact, just on the personal impact, we had a lovely letter which was written by one of the guys who came through Accessible Broadcasting Community, severely disabled, but he was able to communicate himself. He was severely physically disabled, and he wrote a letter to one of the media trainers saying he was so happy that he had the opportunity to volunteer on the project like Accessible Broadcasting Community, because he'd never ever had the opportunity before. And this guy's, I think, is in his early 50s, sorry, and for 50 years he's been trying to do volunteering and he's never had the chance. He's now volunteering for us. He's one of the core team now for KS Media, which is fantastic.
Well, we are so excited about what we're telling that we have to see your film now, the AB project.
Make a positive contribution to your community. In the summer of 2011, a media training workshop run by volunteers and targeted at people with physical and learning disabilities took place in York. This was known as ABC, the Accessible Broadcasting Community. There were 2 main outcomes which were defined for the project: to provide accessible and inclusive volunteering opportunities within a mainstream social environment, and to develop and offer opportunities for participants to have their voices heard and to positively express themselves through media, social and personal skills. One of the participants in the ABC project was Richard, a local music composer who had basic skills in making his own films before coming along to a taster session.
We did filming of various activities that were going on here, and I was able to say the sort of things that I did, and I enjoyed working with the camera because this was adding to my knowledge of what I already knew. I learned how to zoom in and out and to turn the camera, etc. I really enjoy learning the radio editing at the moment, and I would like to learn everything that's going on.
This is my first time tonight. It's looking very good, and we've been watching the
Open sessions were held to allow participants to come along to Chaos Media weekly sessions and work with volunteers to be trained up in media skills. The tasks shared, such as video editing, saw the transfer of Chaos volunteers' experience to the newcomers. Evaluating the success of the ABC project was an independent analyst.
I'm doing a research project on widening access to volunteering, and so I came down here to find out about how Chaos has widened its access for other people. We're interested in how organisations make what they do available to people who don't normally volunteer and don't normally get involved in things. It's been really nice. I've had a whole bunch of really nice conversations. I've learned a lot of things from people, and I've seen a lot of really, really cool kit like that.
Today I've got some footage on here from a workshop I did with a group up at Acombe Library, and they were trying out interview skills and interviewing each other and all having a go on the camera, and we've got footage from both cameras, and what we're doing is cutting it together so that we get, first of all we get the question and then we get the answer.
At the conclusion of the ABC project, a web TV broadcast was produced by all the volunteers to showcase its activities. It wasn't just in the discipline of television that participants gained practical media skills. Workshops in photography were run to allow volunteers to sharpen their eye for a good picture, while guidance was also provided to help those recruited to write blogs on what they learnt and what they thought of the open production sessions. A radio broadcast was also produced, also documenting the experiences of volunteers who took part in the ABC project.
Hi, this is the Eco Cafe radio station here.
Okay, so we've got Jane here. What did you think of today's session, Jane?
It was so awesome. We learned a lot, how to use the machine and how to play music.
And how do you present a radio show?
By mic, and here it is.
Okay, this is Pete.
My favourite song is my favourite microphone. I love sing about song by Miss Julie, dancer partner, but I love it to me. I got love song.
The report compiled by the independent analyst about the ABC project, as well as similar schemes involving 7 other volunteering organisations in the city of York, suggests 4 ways which groups can welcome volunteers from all walks of life. Be flexible, to find the right balance between the care of a volunteer and the work that it involves. Be supportive, to find methods to help a volunteer to take part in opportunities if they find it difficult. Be prepared, to know what the needs of a volunteer are and to take the right steps to make them feel welcome. And be aware, to know what volunteers want the most from the work they do with the organisation. Through the Accessible Broadcasting Community Project, over 30 volunteers in York with learning difficulties and disabilities were given the opportunity to learn and develop their media skills.
Thank you to let me come tonight and watch it all. Really good, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Yes, and now we make a mental trip again to Milano and to Camille from SES. And Camille, your project has a peculiarity. I think that was quite interesting for us, and I would like you to tell about is this action or interaction between intergenerations, so different generations. Can you tell us about this process?
Yes, it was very interesting what happened during our workshops, because we targeted workshops to people between 15 and 30 years, and we had participants, but we had made publicity in the public library, and suddenly adults came and wanted to participate to the workshop and help, and there were also skilled adults. So we decided to open the workshop also to another age target. And we were at the beginning a little bit worried of how they would interact, but finally it was very, very nice. They interacted and they learned a lot of things one from each other. And there was another level in which we had intergenerational exchange, and that was because we decided during the second volunteer day to invite local organizations, local volunteering organizations, to show the kids, not only the kit that we had prepared during our project Volunteer TV, but also to give them concrete opportunities to volunteer in the area where they live. And it was very interesting because the kids met adults that were volunteering in organizations, and they told them their experience. But also on the contrary, the adults of the organizations understood that in the public library we have media volunteers that they can call whenever they want to make some promotional video for their organization. So I think that this goes in the direction of sustainability, because we created a network, and we personally think, me and my colleagues, that this project will go on also after it's ended.
So you can see that you make a step forwards the future in your own organization.
Yes, we did, and I think that this networking activity is also reflected in the choice that we made for our report, because we decided to make any kind of institutional video about one very important organization that is coordinating volunteering associations in Milan. And our idea was that of starting a cooperation with this organization. So one of the reasons why we choose to make the video about them was also to know them, and that they get to know us, so they can spread these media volunteering activities and offer the opportunity to all their associations to have videos made by our volunteers.
One thing is interesting me is that how do you coordinate the timetable for all these so different generations of active people?
The timetable was kind of easy, because we work in the afternoons, in the early and late afternoons, and generally people organize themselves kind of easily. The students are not in school. University students generally don't have lessons, or they can also skip lessons. And the adults that participated were generally adults that work in the video or are interested in video making. And this sector of society, let's say, doesn't have fixed jobs. They don't work from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock in the afternoon. They can work whenever they want, so it was easy to organize it.
Shall we see your video?
Yes.
I think it's a good idea.
Yes.
Mi chiamo Lino da Cagnina e sono ormai da 6 anni quasi il presidente del centro servizi del volontariato della provincia di Milano.
Sono Patrizia Bisolla, sono responsabile dell'area promozione del volontariato in CSV.
Sono Silvia Cannonieri, sono in CSV da un po' di anni e mi occupo dello sviluppo e in particolare delle attività europee, nello specifico il servizio volontario europeo che coordino e tutto ciò che attiene l'area Europa, quindi progettazione europea di vario tipo.
Mi chiamo Delphine, sono francese, vengo da una piccola città nel sud della Francia e faccio un servizio di volontariato a Milano, a CSV.
Dunque, il Centro Servizi del Volontariato è un'associazione di associazioni, è istituito in funzione della legge 266, che è la legge sul volontariato, che prevede che nei territori nascano dei centri di servizio appunto in favore del volontariato, per supportarlo, aiutarlo a svilupparsi, dargli tutti gli elementi che servono alla formazione. Esiste prevalentemente in quasi tutte le province, anche se in realtà poi ci sono dei centri di servizio che sono a carattere regionale. Tutti i centri di servizi fanno riferimento a un coordinamento nazionale che si chiama CSV.net. La funzione sostanzialmente è quella proprio di offrire servizi che favoriscono lo sviluppo del volontariato. Lo fa attraverso alcune aree di intervento molto strutturate, ormai che si sono molto strutturate nel tempo: promozione, comunicazione, formazione e consulenza.
La promozione del volontariato è tutta una serie di attività che rientrano nella sensibilizzazione, nell'avvicinare le persone che non svolgono volontariato al mondo del volontariato. Noi facciamo tutta una serie di attività con le scuole e in particolare quest'anno ci siamo impegnati nella promozione del volontariato, nell'adozione di uno strumento che noi abbiamo chiamato il passaporto del volontariato. Questo passaporto serve per certificare le competenze acquisite tramite esperienze di volontariato. Quindi i giovani fanno esperienze anche brevi di volontariato inserite in un contesto scolastico. Al termine dell'esperienza viene certificata la competenza acquisita dalla scuola, dall'associazione che ha ospitato l'esperienza e da noi in quanto, diciamo, enti certificatori di queste esperienze. È molto delicato il tema dell'orientamento al volontariato. Questa è una fase del, diciamo, lavoro che ricade sulla nostra area, molto importante, perché la persona che vuole fare del volontariato e che magari non ha mai approcciato il mondo del volontariato, di fatto non sa neanche quali potrebbero essere i possibili ambiti di intervento. Quindi il nostro lavoro consiste nel realizzare con questa persona un buon colloquio di orientamento per sottolineare quali sono le attitudini, le capacità e le competenze, e soprattutto nel vedere questa persona inserita all'interno di un contesto reale di volontariato, per cui cercare di immaginarci quale potrebbe essere l'attività più adatta per quella persona, perché noi sappiamo che l'incrocio funziona e, diciamo, si crea comunque una relazione duratura quando noi riusciamo a fare bene questo incrocio.
È un progetto altamente innovativo, una sorta di hub per il volontariato, dove si potrà andare a utilizzare lo spazio temporaneamente, dove si potrà avere magari l'indirizzo legale, alcuni servizi da poter utilizzare immediatamente, un luogo di incontro, di formazione. Pensiamo al suo interno di costituire l'università del volontariato, di costituire un ostello per i giovani che vengono dall'Europa per fare il servizio di volontariato europeo, quindi un grande progetto per Milano che ormai è in procinto di partire definitivamente, nel senso che abbiamo appena consegnato il progetto definitivo, stiamo aspettando i permessi per cominciare proprio la costruzione vera e propria, cioè, o meglio, la ristrutturazione vera e propria.
Il servizio volontario europeo, ovvero lo SVE, È un'opportunità che la Commissione europea offre ai giovani fra i 18 e i 30 anni. Consiste nella possibilità di effettuare un'esperienza di volontariato all'estero, all'interno dei 27 Stati membri della Commissione dell'Unione Europea e nei paesi, cosiddetti paesi partner, quei paesi con cui la Commissione Europea ha accordi di vario tipo. È un'opportunità che è ancora molto poco conosciuta in Italia, mentre invece negli altri paesi europei è molto, molto sfruttata, proprio perché consente ai giovani di fare un'esperienza di volontariato all'estero a costo zero.
Ho conosciuto questo programma di SV quando ho conosciuto Giulia, che era una volontariata a Narbonne, la città dove vivo io, che mi ha parlato di questo e ho voluto farlo perché volevo cambiare di vita, perché fa 8 anni che lavoravo in Mediateca a Narbonne con Sindiana, che è l'altra volontaria che viene dalla Romagna. Aiutiamo i giovani che vogliono fare un servizio di volontariato in Italia. E anche, come ho detto prima, lavoravo in biblioteca, quindi mi occupo anche della creazione con Francesca del centro di documentazione sul volontariato. Io ho scelto CSV perché volevo andare già in Italia e ho visto questo programma e mi è piaciuto molto perché già era nel centro di Milano. C'era un progetto per fare promozione dell'ESV e come questo potevo anche capire veramente qual è il volontariato e conoscere altri giovani e lavorare nella comunicazione mi piaceva e non l'ho mai fatto, quindi è un po' un challenge, non so se si dice in italiano anche challenge, una sfida.
Per quanto riguarda il numero dei volontari, noi abbiamo una realtà milanese che è rappresentata da appunto 880 organizzazioni di volontariato e con all'incirca un 42-43 mila volontari presenti. A livello lombardo i volontari, anche se la rilevazione è un po' più vecchia, la nostra è proprio l'ultima del 2011, quella lombarda risale al 2009, siamo su circa 132.000 volontari, mentre quella nazionale, anche questa è più vecchia, addirittura del 2006, siamo circa 880.000 volontari. Questi dati che risultano delle persone che sono chiaramente inserite in un'organizzazione e quindi in qualche modo monitorate attraverso le schede di rilevazione. Il volontariato per il volontariato è sostanzialmente uno slogan, CSV è un'associazione che raggruppa associazioni di volontariato, quindi la governance è fatta dalle persone indicate da queste associazioni che poi vengono elette e costituiscono quindi di fatto il consiglio direttivo di CSV, che decide le scelte associative, gli indirizzi eccetera. E quindi una realtà fatta da volontari, perché queste persone che fanno parte del consiglio direttivo a partire da me sono loro stessi volontari, quindi nessuno di noi è retribuito, nessuno di noi fa questo come lavoro. Quindi un'azione di volontari che va e ricade sui volontari. Poi questo sì realizzata anche attraverso l'impegno, le capacità e le competenze di persone professioniste. Ecco perché i nostri operatori sono invece dei professionisti, sono che i servizi che dobbiamo offrire devono essere di alto livello qualitativo, insomma. Però l'azione di indirizzo è fatta da chi presiede, insomma, dall'organismo di governo, che è fatto da volontari, quindi dai volontari per i volontari, perché questi servizi poi sono a vantaggio delle organizzazioni e dei volontari stessi. Questo è un po' il senso dello slogan.
Yes, that was Milano. And now I want you to make a difficult exercise, because we are in this warm Istanbul, and now close your eyes and we make a mental trip to the cold, where it's raining cats and dogs, Denmark, you know, and to my town, Aarhus, you know. I hope you arrive safe, you know. So in Aarhus we decide, with our children News TV, we decide to work in a peculiar way, because we have a big network in our town. So we choose some organizations we would like to work. So we choose, for instance, the European Youth Aarhus, which is an organization of young people saying yes to European Union. So that is not very common in Denmark, because, you know, in Denmark there's a lot of opposition against the European Union. So that was important, engage people, very few but very engaged and energetic. So that's one project we choose. Then another one was the participation of young Turkish who was born in Aarhus and live there, and are active, showing their Turkish culture to the rest of the country, of the city, and so on. So that was then, because they make, this association of young Turkish people, they make the Turkish tent, and in the big festival of Scandinavia, which is taking place in our town in September, the big Aarhus Festu is called, they have a tent where they present culture from Turkey, not only from themselves and the Turkish people who live in Denmark, but they also pick up some musicians from Turkey and so on, and try like that to introduce Danish people to their culture. So that's also another type of being volunteer, being working, to be somehow be included in society, you know. And the third one was very peculiar at that time, last year, because last year we had a very right-wing government, and we have a lot of problems about, and there was a lot of discrimination and all these things. So we pick up an organization called Association Racism. And they work with theater, and they're all volunteers. And their theater performances is exactly about these issues. And at that time it was very important, because nobody was speaking very much about that. Everybody was feeling this discrimination, this racism, but because the very right-wing government and the very nationalist party, Danish Volksparty, nobody was really speaking out. So that was a very interesting thing to see how these young people making somehow citizen society awake of the dangers who are there. So that was our third project. And then, of course, we also include young people in our volunteer days. For instance, our first volunteer day was in the 30th of September last year, and it was the first time in Denmark that you celebrate in all Denmark this volunteer day. And in Aarhus, we arranged it together with a volunteer center, and there was more than 2,000 organizations in a free place in the middle of town. And luckily, it was sun was shining, so it was very good, not raining like now. So it was a very good event where you could be together with other volunteer organizations, and everybody could see how it is volunteer work. And the second volunteer day we organized this year, and again we choose a new strategy for this. We work with the Workers' Union Youth, and we make our second volunteer day in the 1st of May, where there's political manifestations and everything and so on. So it was a quite interesting also way of engaging people, putting this volunteer TV project in the conscience of many people in town. So that's more or less the way we work with. And I will not tell very much about that. Let's see the film from the Association Racism, which is called The Carnivaleske Prejudices.
Ej, hvor er I ulækre! Hvor er I sagt, hvor er I grim! Hvor er du grim! Hvor er
Den handler om dig, og den måde, du forholder dig til dig selv på og til andre på i samfundet. forsøger at lave det her installationsrum, hvor folk får mulighed for at reflektere over den måde, de som sagt relaterer sig til sig selv og hinanden på. Det handler i særlig grad om den måde, vi er med til at studere hinanden på. Så handler den om fordomme og racisme i ret bred forstand.
Motivationen bag det her for mig er, at jeg tror, at initiativet, det frivillige initiativ er rigtig vigtigt, og tit kan det være svært at sådan skaffe penge til de idéer og de initiativer, man har, og derfor kan det være frivilligt arbejde har en rigtig god energi bag det, fordi folk er som udgangspunkt lige stillet til at lave de ting, de gerne vil. Så det er sådan en rigtig god måde på en hurtig måde ligesom at få skabt noget. Og så få lavet sådan et initiativ som det her, som prøver at gøre op med nogle måder at diskutere politik på, som jeg synes er rigtig vigtigt, men som samtidig er rigtig svært at skaffe penge til. Så derfor er der rigtig meget motivation i at lave frivilligt arbejde på den her måde, fordi det kan lade sig gøre for rigtig få midler og gøre noget, der egentlig er ret effektivt.
Min motivation for at være frivillig i Fordommens Karnevalesk, det er, at jeg elsker at spille skuespil. Og jeg synes, det er en fed mulighed for at prøve grænser af og få en masse erfaringer og oplevelser. Og så synes jeg også, det giver noget mere, når man ved, at man er frivillig. Altså, at man gør det i en god sags tjeneste, og ikke for pengenes skyld.
My motivation for being at Fordommens Karnevalesk is to advance and get a bigger network of my own and just to help out. I think it's a good project and I want to support it.
Yeah, that was an interesting experience in Aarhus. And I just want to add a little bit more, is that in fact we are collaborating now with all these organizations. The Turkish tent we are going to cover next time they appear in Aarhus Festival. The European Youth Aarhus are collaborating, making a program for youth about European Union. And these ones, racism, we are of course with them when they make the next performance. So, and now we again take a trip more north from Denmark. We go to the Black Balsam country, Riga and Latvia. Welcome to Kristina.
Okay.
And your project has a peculiar thing that you get surprised. Can you tell us about this experience?
Yes, for our organization and Next Media Group, this project Voluntary TV,
actually gave a clue in which direction do we need to go. Speaking about voluntary work, what do we need to do to make it more popular, to make it easier to find a way for youngsters to get a voluntary work? The interesting fact was that in the voluntary day, speaking with youngsters, actually we got to know that they don't have problem with voluntary work. They actually would like to do that, especially when they listened for the opportunities what we had, what kind of voluntary work they can do. For example, multimedia stuff. And the only problem, and the biggest problem actually, is the information. They don't have the information. They don't know where should they go, where should they search the information, whom to call. And that's why we made an event which was organized also by voluntary youngsters, where organizations, voluntary and non-governmental organizations, which provide and give the opportunity for youngsters to do voluntary work. And it was a big success, the event, because there was the one thing that there was a lot of youngsters, and the information, they could do it right on a way. They could get to know the organization, get the contacts, get to know what kind of work can they do.
Yes, so it means in fact that now we have kind of guidelines for the future if you want to make more projects, and that probably the Latvian organizations are not good informing
that's probably the main problem, because it was a new thing also for us, because we thought that the problem is that they are lazy and don't want to do the voluntary work, or where's the problem?
No?
Yeah. It turns out that that's the problem with information.
Yes.
So we need to work with it.
But which impact then this experience make to your organizations? Are you going to try to organize different in the future now, or what are you doing?
Now we are trying to cooperate more with more of organizations which provide voluntary work, so we can spread the information together with them. So youngsters would know, oh, if I want to do something, for example, then I need to go to that organization and tell my wish, and they will help me, and they will provide me the voluntary job, the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, but so it means that your organization in the future will play a better role in society also.
Of course.
So that's quite a good thing, I'd say.
Yeah,
definitely. Because they come with a lot of energy, in fact, which you are not expecting. So what you come out of that? Because it shows that, according to what you are saying, that young people...
I know. I mean, what's the income of the project overall? Of course, we now, as I already said, that we now know the direction what we need to work on, and the impact probably will be seen later on.
So it's a long-term.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, of course, it's not happening in one day. Just we need to work it to the providing the information, and then afterwards probably we'll.
But what
then
about
we'll
the
see
Latvian
the
authorities in relation to all this thing? Because it looks like, according to what you say, that there's a lack of information from the authorities about putting things on scene.
And it's just the wrong way of probably to providing the information, because everybody's thinking that, oh, okay, we have a website. Okay, if you want to do a voluntary work, go to our website. But they don't know which kind of website they need to go. So that's the thing. We're working on it.
Yeah.
So we need to find a way how to make popular the websites.
But do you think that will be a task for the authorities, where they should, let's say, the city council in Riga would have the youth department to go and promote all this?
Yes, and slowly it's happening. It's happening that they are providing the information. Yeah,
but it takes time.
Yeah, of course, but it's going to the best.
But shall we see your film, which is about Under One Roof, and is about volunteer students making a charity festival? Yes.
Rīgā 1. septembrī notika pasākums zem viena jumta, ko organizēja Rīgas skolēnu domes brīvprātīgie jaunieši.
Brīvprātīgais darbs, manuprāt, ir viens no vislabākajiem veidiem, kādā veidā tu vari iegūt pieredzi vispār, kā strādāt komandā, kā vadīt kādu konkrētu komandu vai darba grupu. kā uzstāties publikas priekšā, iegūt ļoti daudz jaunas zināšanas, teiksim, izmantot radošo domāšanu. Tādā ziņā tā pieredze ir tik ļoti liela, un to vienīgais, kā var iemācīties, ir tikai to darot. Un brīvprātīgais darbs ir pats labākais, kā to var izdarīt, jo, ja tu strādā brīvprātīgi, tad tev pašam ir lielāks zinums, tu strādā nepriekš sevis, jo, ja par tevi par to maksātu, tu negribētu to tik ļoti, tu tam nepieiet tam ar visu savu sirdi.
Strādājot par brīvprātīgo, cilvēku uzreiz citādāk skatās, tā kā viņi nedomā, ka tikai tiecās pēc materiālām vērtībām vai kāda cita. Tas vairāk ir tā, ka es strādāju brīvprātīgo darbu un uzreiz darba devējs skatās tā, jā, šis puisis arī var izdarīt to bez maksas. Tas arī Rietumē Eiropā ir daudz populārāk, kad strādā brīvprātīgo darbu. Daudzās universitātēs vajag strādāt brīvprātīgo darbu, lai nepievērstos tik ļoti precīzi mācībām un grāmatās neierūktos. Jā, un Latvijā es ceru, ka kļūs populārāks brīvprātīgais darbs, un skolēniem tas vislabāk ir, jo ziemā jau tāpat, ko tad sēdēs autobusu pieturā un kaut ko lietos apreibinoši, kāpēc nepastrādā brīvprātīgo darbu, kas vēlāk atsaucās daudz progresīvākā, ģeometriskā progresijā augsts alga normālā darbā, kur maksā arī algu. Tā kā es domāju, ka brīvprātīgais darbs tā ir nākotnē cilvēkiem, kas strādā.
Es darbojos Rīgas skolēnu domē, bet ņemot vairāk Rīgas skolēnu domē, rīko vairākus pasākumus, diezgan daudz, kā arī mūsu cilvēks lūdz kā brīvprātīgos arī citādos pasākumos. Tur, piemēram, es zinu, ka vasarā es piedalījos teātra festivālā kā brīvprātīgā, tādēļ arī tas nav mans vienīgais pasākums. Es diezgan aktīvi piedalos kā brīvprātīgā un palīdzu.
Pasākuma laikā gaisā virmoja prieka noskaņa, jo gan mazie, gan lielie varēja izbaudīt lieliskas atrakcijas, piedalīties konkursos un lielajā loterijā, iegūt balviņas, kā arī uzzināt daudz ko jaunu par brīvprātīgā darba iespējām dažādās organizācijās.
Lai popularizētu brīvprātīgo darbu, es domāju, ir vajadzīgs ļoti liels informācijas apjoms jālaiž cauri skolām, jo ir ļoti daudz skolēni, kas ejot cauri arī Vērmanas dārzam šeit un prasa vai kaut ko palīdzēt. Skolēni grib to darīt, bet viņiem nav šīs informācijas pieejas tik ļoti liels, jo informācija, ko mēs Rīgas skolēnu domu nosūtam uz skolām, viņa brīžiem ir tā, ka viņi apraujās kaut kādā momentā. Un līdz ar to ir grūti noteikt, kur tad ir tā problēma. Tāpēc es domāju, tas informācijas apjoms, ja viņš tiešām nonāk no mums patiešo pie skolēna, tad problēmas nekādas nebūtu.
Rīgas skolēnu domas brīvprātīgie bija parūpējušies, lai pasākuma noslēgumā ik viens apmeklētājs varētu nobaudīt uz vietas gatavoto cepuma kūku.
Es no šī pasākuma gūstu to, ka man ir ļoti liels gandarījums par paveikto, jo sākumā tu to visu sāc būvēt no nulles, un tikai tad, kad tu redzi, kā tas viss top, tad tu saproti, ka ir bijis vērts, un tad, kad ir pasākuma noslēgums, tad arī tāds ļoti liels gandarījums un ļoti liels prieks, ka jā, beidzot tas ir paveikts un ir bijis patiešām lieliski.
Yes, that was Riga, and we've been drinking some black balsam, and now we go to have some ouzus, and we travel to Thessaloniki.
Hello.
And yes, hello, Atina. Your project is something very interesting. How can one work with volunteers who have never been volunteers?
Yeah, it was the most interesting part of the experience for me, is that we decided to work with a group of teenagers from 15 to 18 years old. Actually, we had one girl that was 14 at the time, and they are growing up in an institution, in kind of like an orphanage, so they are only used for other people to volunteer for them. It was the first time that we proposed the opportunity to them to understand what volunteerism is and to present volunteerism in Greece. And what they chose to present is the only volunteerism that they know, and is the work that the elder volunteers are doing for them. So the first very important, interesting part for me, it was this interaction, the teenagers with the older volunteers. And the situation was a bit difficult, because as you know, the teenagers, they think that it's only going to be about fun, but it's not, it's only also about hard work. So we had some problems, but it went really well in the end, and the result, we are very proud of it, and you'll see it. But what I think is even most important is that they got inspiration to continue volunteering in the future. So they found out about the Youth in Action program, and they applied for a youth initiative, which is approved, and it's now happening, and they are continuing, and they have other ideas for the future, and including other youngsters of the village. So I think it was very fruitful, very enthusiastic for us.
So it was a very positive experience.
Yeah, total overall.
Which repercussion it has in your own organization?
Repercussion?
Yes, what consequences?
The consequence is that we opened up to a whole new target group, let's say, a totally new group of people. They are young, they are very energetic, they have many ideas, so many things for us to do. No, they are learning. They were a bit difficult in the beginning because they didn't know the things that were required from them, but they are learning very fast and they're picking it up. Yeah, good.
But one question is coming in my head is how generally, because we hear so much about Greece and economic crisis and so on, how is in these days the volunteerism in Greece?
Yeah, I don't know about the volunteerism of older people these days because we've been discussing about that lately, and yes, it is a bit more difficult because if someone is unemployed, maybe they don't have the drive to just volunteer, although they have the free time or whatever. So I don't know. We didn't work with adult volunteers in this project. We chose youngsters. And also in the second training that we did, we also chose youngsters. So during this project, I didn't work with elder volunteers. I think maybe it's a bit of a difficult time for it.
Yeah. But you think there's a hope in the future with all these young people?
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. This is the...
But shall we look at your film,
yes, please.
Ladies, which is about volunteerism in the children village?
Yeah, thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Κάνουμε εθελοντισμό εδώ, προσφέρουμε εργασία για τα παιδιά, γιατί έχουμε αγάπη για τα παιδιά. Είμαι εθελόντρια και κάνουμε τραχανάδες για να πουλήσουμε για τα παιδιά.
Σήμερα ήρθαμε για να κάνουμε τραχανά, ζυμώνουμε και κάνουμε πιτάκια και τα ανοίγουμε, τα απλώνουμε και μετά τα επεξεργαζόμαστε για να κάνουμε τον τραχανά, τον οποίο πουλάμε και δίνουμε και παίρνουμε λεφτά για να προσφέρουμε στα παιδιά του περιοχού.
Οι εθελοντές μας κάνουν πάρα πολλά, οι εθελόντριές μας κάνουν πάρα πολλά πράγματα. Ξεκινώντας από αυτό που είδατε σήμερα, κάνοντας χειροποίητους τραχανάδες, χελοπίτες, γλυκά, μαρμελάδες, βοηθώντας να στηθεί ένα παζαράκι που έχουμε, βοηθώντας κάτω στα 2 περίπτερα που έχουμε την περίοδο των γιορτών, πουλώντας διάφορα πράγματα που κάνουν τα παιδιά μας, διάφορες κατασκευές, κάνουν μπομπονιέρες για φίλους που θέλουν να κάνουν κάποια βάφτιση κτλ.
Ένας τομέας είναι αυτός, είναι εδώ, ο άλλος τομέας είναι μέσα στην πόλη, είναι κοντά στο Διοικητικό Συμβούλιο, είναι ο τομέας ευρέσεως χρημάτων, διότι αυτό το χωριό έχει πολύ μεγάλες απαιτήσεις. Για να βρεθούν λοιπόν αυτά τα έσοδα, αυτοί οι πόροι, χρειάζεται μεγάλη φροντίδα, χρειάζεται πολύ τρέξιμο για να το πούμε κοινά και χρειάζεται και αρκετούς ανθρώπους και με ειδικές γνώσεις, αλλά και με πολύ νεράκι και με πολύ καρδιά. Λοιπόν, αυτά τα γκρουπ των εθελοντριών έχουν και νεράκι και καρδιά και γνώσεις και έχουν και μια κοινωνικότητα τέτοια που μπορούν να την εκμεταλλευτούν για καλό του χωριού.
Κάνουν πάρα πολλά πράγματα βοηθώντας το παιδικό χωριό, έτσι ώστε να βγάλει κάποια χρήματα, γιατί πρέπει να ξέρετε ότι το παιδικό χωριό δεν έχει ενταχθεί σε κανένα κρατικό φορέα μόνιμα και πάγια για χρηματοδότηση. Έχουμε μόνο έκτακτες επιδοτήσεις, οπότε αυτό για μας είναι πάρα πολύ σπουδαίο και πάρα πολύ μεγάλο.
Γιατί αγαπάμε τα παιδιά.
Γιατί απλώς θέλω να βοηθήσω τα παιδάκια.
Και ευχαρίστηση μας είναι όσο μπορούμε να βοηθήσουμε. Και όλος ο κόσμος πρέπει να βοηθήσει. Το κάνουμε γιατί μας αρέσει.
Κοιτάξτε να δείτε, εθελοντισμό σημαίνει προσφορά.
Να προσφέρουμε κάτι δωρεάν, αγάπη και ό,τι μπορούμε να κάνουμε για τα παιδιά.
Πρώτα απ' όλα πρέπει να το θέλεις πάρα πολύ μέσα σου, να μην το διατυπαγγίζεις και να βοηθάς εκεί που πρέπει.
Εθελοντισμός είναι η ψυχή της αγάπης. Για μένα. Ό,τι μπορεί ο καθένας κάνει. Καλό είναι να βοηθάμε ο ένας τον άλλον. Γι' αυτό είναι.
Εμένα σημαίνει αγάπη. Αγάπη.
Yes, that was the Greek contribution. And now, even if they didn't make the final European Championship in Poland, Ukraine, they surely land in Istanbul to the final event of Volunteer TV. Welcome, Stefan from Münster and from Akko.
Thanks a lot for making me feel the pain again.
Yes. I like that, you know. But to be happy now, because it's the final event now. Of course. And you are there, you know.
Of course.
So, one of the things that's been occupied to do all this project is why they do volunteer work. Yeah. Can you tell us something about that?
Yeah. I mean, when I approached this project, of course, I had to think about how do you want these movies to be, because you can approach this theme of volunteering from different levels. And for me personally, and for the other volunteers I was working with, was the most interesting question was, why are they doing it? Because not only people with lots of free time give their time, but also people that work 40, 50 hours a week, you know, and their free time is precious for them. So that was always, for me personally, an interesting question. And that was something we wanted to show through our movies. We wanted to let the people doing voluntary work talk for themselves and you know, just show their motivation. And at the end, after doing all this, I must say the motivation is mostly because it makes them happy, you know? Giving something to people makes you happy, it makes them happy, you know? You get something back, and it's a give and take, and it's a really nice thing, and makes our society better, yeah.
But your organization play also a quite important role. You are one of the initiative takers to this project, you can see.
Yes.
Yes. But which role exactly your organization plays? That's what I want to know.
Okay, yes. our organization started the project because 2011 was the European Year of Volunteering, and we thought, okay, what can we do with this? How can we contribute to a sense throughout Europe for volunteering? And that's how we came up with the idea for Volunteer TV, to have a look through different European countries, what volunteering means in each country, what is happening there, what difficulties, what opportunities are there.
Shall we see your first film, which is about Federal Voluntary Service?
Yeah, sure.
A new law was recently passed in Germany which abolished the military conscription. According to it, male citizens are not anymore obliged to serve in the army or to do any other alternative services. That's why on the 1st of July 2011 the so-called Bundesfreiwilligendienst was introduced.
Mein Name ist Philipp Großmann und ich bin 19 Jahre alt und ich mache einen Bundesfreiwilligendienst hier an der Uniklinik auf der Station 10b Ost. Das ist eine Intensivstation für internistische, ja, für alles Internistische eigentlich. Also wir haben größtenteils Herz, aber auch alles andere, was irgendwie mit innerer Medizin zu tun hat eigentlich.
It is an opportunity for almost everybody to do volunteering without any gender or age restrictions, if to compare it to Freiwilliges Jahr, which is possible only for young people until 26 years old.
Also mein Name ist Anne Hönig und ich bin bin die Assistentin für die Pflegedirektion und bin unter anderem zuständig für den Bundesfreiwilligendienst und Freiwilliges Soziale Jahr mit einer Kollegin, Frau Wickermann, zusammen.
Uniklinik is one of the institutions in Münster where one can do Bundesfreiwilligendienst in the medical area.
Bis jetzt sind die alle zufrieden mit den Einsatzbereichen. Also ich handhabe das so, die schicken ja die Bewerbungsunterlagen ein, dann werden die schriftlich zum Vorstellungsgespräch eingeladen und in diesem Vorstellungsgespräch kristallisiert sich raus, wo die Tendenz ist, was sie gerne machen möchten bei uns, und dann gehen die in die Einsatzbereiche rein, hospitieren da einen Tag, sprechen da auch oder ein paar Stunden, und dann wird mit der Einsatzleitung dann gesprochen, wenn beide übereinkommen, und dann können die dementsprechend, wann sie anfangen wollen, weil man kann ja im Bundesfreiwilligendienst jeden Monat anfangen, und dann beginnen die ihren Bundesfreiwilligendienst.
Also es war so, dass ich schon meinen Zivildienst gemacht habe nach dem Abi. Damals, ich hätte 6 Monate machen müssen, habe ein ganzes Jahr gemacht, weil es mir so gut gefallen hat, und im Behindertenbereich, und habe da für mich erkannt, dass ich mir das mit Medizin ziemlich gut voll vorstellen könnte, weil, also das war nicht direkt das, was ich da gemacht habe, aber ich dachte mir, das ist mit Sicherheit das, was auf Dauer das Richtige wäre. Und dann wollte ich mich bewerben zum Wintersemester und die Frist war 2 Tage abgelaufen. Und daraufhin musste ich dann irgendwie bis zum Sommer jetzt halt die Zeit überbrücken und habe überlegt, was machst du? Und dann dachte ich, fängst im Krankenhaus an, dann hast du nochmal direkt den Einblick, ist das wirklich was oder stelle ich mir das nur so vor, dass es was ist? Und also es ist jetzt nicht, um irgendwie die Zeit totzuschlagen, sondern schon auch nochmal als Erfahrung. Und es hat mich bisher, ich bin jetzt 6 Wochen hier, total bestätigt in dem, was ich machen möchte.
As a concept, Bundesfreiwilligendienst is relatively new, but it has the same purposes as any previous voluntary services. On the one hand, institutions get inexpensive workers and in some cases future professionals.
Wir sind sehr zufrieden. Also der Anfang war schon gut. Wir hatten die Bewerbung relativ schnell und zügig und die Anfrage ist sehr groß. Also von daher können wir sagen, wir sind zufrieden. Natürlich muss man jetzt abwarten, ob das die nächsten Jahre auch so weitergeht.
On the other hand, volunteers can get an important practical experience.
Dann habe ich dann so meine ständigen Aufgaben, Dinge aufzufüllen, dass immer alles irgendwie da ist und so ein bisschen aufzuräumen, sauber zu machen, wenn ein Patient verlegt wird, das Bett neu aufzurüsten, dass da eine Neuaufnahme kommen kann, so dass man halt auch was zu tun hat, wenn man gerade nicht gebraucht wird.
A lot could happen during the volunteering time, and you never know how it could influence you. For Philip, an important moment was a case with one of the patients.
Wir haben eine Patientin bekommen, ein Mädchen mit ja, wie gesagt, Mädchen, also eine 17-Jährige, die ist vom anderen Krankenhaus verlegt worden, weil die halt die notwendigen Mittel nicht mehr da hatten. Die hatte ein akutes Atemnotsyndrom. Nach allen möglichen Vorerkrankungen war es halt so, dass die Lunge überhaupt wirklich so gut wie gar nicht mehr selbst gearbeitet hat. Und die ist dann wirklich, also eigentlich haben wir so junge Patienten nicht, ne? Und die ist wirklich gekommen und die ist an so die Maschinen, die man wirklich nur im letzten Fall irgendwie noch einsetzt, dran gekommen. Und ja, jetzt habe ich gerade vorhin noch, habe ich ihr das Frühstück reingebracht und habe mich eine halbe Stunde mit der unterhalten und dann ist sie erstmal mit mir noch über die Station gelaufen und der geht's wieder super und die war wirklich, also die war richtig schlecht. Also da wusste man nicht, ob sie es schafft oder nicht und der geht's richtig gut wieder. Und das sind schon so Sachen, wo man schon so denkt, es lohnt sich.
So from now on, it is absolutely free for everybody to decide if he or she wants to do voluntary service.
Bundesfreiwilligendienst? Ja, also aus meiner Ausgangssituation würde ich es auf jeden Fall wieder machen, weil es einem endgültig zeigt, kann man damit umgehen oder nicht. Und ne, ich war mir zwar vorher auch schon sicher, dass ich Medizin studieren will, aber ob man es sich wirklich richtig vorstellt, weiß man nicht, so lange wie man es nicht erlebt hat, einzelne Dinge, ne, die man halt sieht. Und mich hat es halt bestätigt, aber es hätte halt auch sein können, dass ich gemerkt hätte, da kannst du doch nicht mit umgehen oder so, ne? Oder du hast da irgendwie eine Hemmschwelle oder so, Berührungsängste. Und ich würde es auf jeden Fall wieder machen. Das ist auf jeden Fall eine Erfahrung.
Yeah, that was the first film from Germany, but you are also representing the European Youth for Media, and was also produced another film. But I would like to ask you about that. What impact did the project Volunteer TV have in your organization and also in your city, in Münster?
Yeah. On us, it had a great impact because throughout this project and by getting into contact with different fields of volunteering, we decided to make space for 10 of these Bundesfreiwilligendienst, Federal Voluntary Service. So now each year we are able to take 10 people that do this voluntary service at the Benno House and have them work with us. And I also have to say we totally depend on volunteers. Our whole organization wouldn't work without the help of volunteers. So they are extremely important to us, and we love working with them, giving them the possibilities to do movies like this. The movie we just saw, Masha, she's doing a European voluntary year. She did this after we trained her with camera editing and all this, and this was actually one of her first movies. And I think she can be proud of this project, and we are proud that we are able to give this knowledge to other people.
Do you think that's a good way, projects like that, to improve the collaboration through Europe for young people? Because we all speak about crisis and this and that, it's quite too much. So what do you think? We should do more projects like that?
Well, of course. I mean, that was our aim. We wanted to make people throughout Europe aware that they can participate in the society, they can do voluntary work, they can spend their time to make the society a better place, to make Europe a better place. And that's why we did this, that we want to promote the idea of volunteering throughout Europe.
But also the intercultural exchange who comes between all these like us, 7 countries working together, different cultures, different attitudes and so on. So this is a big promotion and maybe is a way for Europe in this crisis time.
Yes, of course, and I think some parts of the crisis are caused by well, a kind of egoism or always thinking for your own benefit and yourself. And if there were more people out there that just volunteer, they give their time for free, and that's something that's not in everybody's head. Not everybody does it, and not everybody thinks this way. And yeah, again, that's why we did it, and that's why we want people to volunteer more.
Yes. But shall we see the last film, which is about European volunteer service in a foreign country?
Yeah, sure.
Don't stop.
Yeah, that was the second contribution from Münster in Germany. And now we are finished, my friends. So, thank you, Istanbul. Thank you, Milano. Thank you, Münster. Thank you, Aarhus. Thank you, Riga. Thank you, Thessaloniki. And thank you, York. And thank you very much to Istanbul to receive us. We are happy to be here. Bye-bye.